Welcome, and let the day settle softly away from you now. As your breathing slows all on its own, imagine drifting gently upward from the earth, past the moon, out beyond the little rocky worlds, until a great banded giant glows warmly into view. That vast and gentle globe is Jupiter, the largest planet of them all, and tonight we will drift slowly around it, one quiet fact at a time. There is nothing at all you need to hold on to now. Just let the words wash softly over you and sink a little deeper towards sleep. Welcome back to Beyond the Stars. The first fact is that Jupiter is the largest planet in our entire solar system, a vast and gentle giant that dwarfs every other world circling the sun. So grand and so wide that all the other planets gathered together could be tucked softly inside it, with plenty of room to spare, drifting quietly within its enormous and welcoming embrace. The second fact is that Jupiter is a gas giant, a world made mostly of hydrogen and helium, the two lightest and simplest elements there are, so that it has no firm shore or solid ground at all, but is instead a great swirling ocean of gas, growing gently thicker and deeper the farther down toward its heart you would go. The third fact is that Jupiter is truly enormous across, measuring about 139,820 kilometers from one side to the other, roughly 11 times wider than our own Earth, so wide that you could line up 11 Earths side by side across its face and still not quite reach from edge to edge. The fourth fact is that Jupiter is also astonishingly heavy, holding about 318 times the mass of our whole planet Earth, a weight so immense that it gently governs the motions of everything around it, drifting through space with the calm and unhurried authority that belongs only to the very grandest and heaviest of all the worlds we know. The fifth fact is that Jupiter is more than twice as massive as all the other planets in the solar system combined, every one of them added together. So that if you gathered up Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and all the rest into a single pile, Jupiter alone would still gently outweigh them, the undisputed giant of our Sun's quiet family. The sixth fact is that if Jupiter were a great hollow sphere, you could pour about 1,321 Earths inside it before it was full, a number so large it softly slips past the imagination, reminding us softly just how small and precious our own blue world truly is beside this gentle and colossal giant of the outer dark. The seventh fact is that Jupiter drifts around the Sun at a distance of roughly 5 1/5 times farther out than the Earth, about 778 million kilometers away. So far from the Sun's warmth that its skies are cold and dim, lit only softly by a sun that appears far smaller there than it does to us. The eighth fact is that Jupiter is the fifth planet counting outward from the Sun, resting just beyond the rocky little worlds and the asteroid belt, the first of the great outer giants, standing like a gentle sentinel at the edge of the inner solar system, where the warm and rocky realm gives way to the cold and spacious dark. The ninth fact is that despite its tremendous size, Jupiter spins faster than any other planet in the solar system, whirling all the way around in only about 9 9/10 hours, so that a single day on Jupiter, one full and gentle turn, passes in less than half the time of one quiet day and night here on Earth. The 10th fact is that a year on Jupiter, one full and patient journey around the Sun, takes about 11 86/100ths of our Earth years, so that in the long time it takes this gentle giant to circle the Sun just once, we here on Earth have already drifted all the way around the Sun nearly 12 full and quiet times over. The 11th fact is that Jupiter is named for the king of the Roman gods, the ruler of the sky and the greatest of all their deities. A fitting and gentle title for the largest planet of them all, given long ago by people who watched it glide slowly and brightly across the heavens, night after quiet night. The 12th fact is that to the ancient Greeks, this same great planet was known as Zeus, the king of their own gods and the wielder of thunder high above, so that across many ages and many cultures, people who gazed up at this bright wandering light chose to name it for the mightiest ruler they could imagine. The 13th fact is that Jupiter is one of the brightest points of light in the whole night sky, easily seen with your own unaided eyes as a steady, gentle glow, shining more brightly than any star, so that for thousands of years people have watched it drift quietly among the constellations without ever needing a telescope at all. The 14th fact is that even though Jupiter is so grand and so heavy, you could never stand upon it, for it has no solid surface anywhere to be found, only endless layers of swirling gas and cloud, growing softly thicker with depth, so that a visitor would simply sink gently downward into an ever-deepening and unending sky. The 15th fact is that Jupiter's tremendous mass gives it a powerful pull of gravity, far stronger than the gentle tug we feel here on Earth, so that if you could somehow stand at its cloud tops, you would feel yourself weigh more than twice as much, held down softly by the sheer immensity of the giant beneath you. The 16th fact is that despite all its great mass, Jupiter is made of such light and airy gases that its overall density is quite low, gentle and puffed up. So low, in fact, that if you could find an ocean vast enough to hold it, this enormous planet would very nearly float gently upon the water, lighter than the sea itself. The 17th fact is that because Jupiter spins so swiftly, it is not a perfect sphere but is gently squashed, bulging softly outward around its middle, so that the giant is a little wider across its equator than it is from pole to pole, quietly flattened and gently rounded by the tremendous speed of its own swift and endless daily turning. The 18th fact is that after the Moon and the planet Venus, Jupiter is often one of the very brightest lights in our night sky, a calm and steady beacon among the stars, so that on many quiet evenings, that bright and patient point you notice glowing softly overhead is this great giant, drifting gently along its ancient path. The 19th fact is that Jupiter has been known to humankind since the most ancient of times, watched and wondered at long before the first telescope was ever built. One of the 5 bright wandering lights the ancients called planets, tracked patiently across the sky through thousands of years of quiet and careful watching by countless gentle eyes before our own. The 20th fact is that Jupiter is the first and greatest of the 4 giant planets, the grand outer worlds that dwarf the small rocky ones like our own. A gentle king among planets, presiding softly over the far reaches of the solar system, where the cold and spacious dark stretches quietly and endlessly outward toward the far and distant stars. The 21st fact is that Jupiter is home to a truly enormous storm called the Great Red Spot, a swirling tempest so vast that it is wider than the whole of our planet Earth. A gigantic and gentle whirlpool of cloud, turning slowly and patiently in Jupiter's southern skies, large enough to swallow our entire world softly within it. The 22nd fact is that the Great Red Spot measures something like 16,000 kilometers across, a storm broader than the Earth itself is wide. So grand and so vast that if you set our whole planet down beside it, the Earth would appear as a small blue marble resting quietly against that great and swirling eye of cloud. The 23rd fact is that the Great Red Spot has been raging quietly for at least 350 years, and very likely far longer still, so that astronomers have watched this single enormous storm turning slowly for centuries, gently spinning on and on since long before any of us, or our grandparents, were ever born. The 24th fact is that within the Great Red Spot, the winds sweep around at tremendous speeds, reaching up to roughly 430 kilometers every hour, a swiftness that would be fierce indeed to stand within, and yet from our distant and peaceful vantage it appears only as a slow and gentle turning of soft red cloud. The 25th fact is that the Great Red Spot is a kind of storm called an anticyclone, a great mound of high-pressure air rising gently above the clouds around it, turning slowly counter to the way storms often spin here on Earth, a calm and towering swirl of cloud that has held its shape for centuries beyond counting. The 26th fact is that no one is entirely certain why the Great Red Spot glows with its soft and rusty color, a gentle mystery still. Perhaps it comes from chemicals lifted up from deep below and touched by sunlight, painting the great and ancient storm in quiet shades of red and orange and warm and dusty rose. The 27th fact is that over the long years of careful watching, the great red spot appears to be slowly shrinking, growing gently smaller and a little rounder than it once was, a soft and patient change unfolding across many decades, reminding us gently that even the grandest and oldest of storms drift slowly and quietly onward through the ages of time. The 28th fact is that Jupiter is wrapped all around in beautiful bands of colored cloud, great stripes of cream and gold and soft brown circling the whole planet, so that even through a small telescope, the giant shows its gentle banded face, a calm and striped world turning slowly and quietly against the deep and open dark. The 29th fact is that the pale, light-colored stripes on Jupiter are called zones, while the darker, richer stripes are called belts. The bright zones are cool clouds rising gently upward, and the dark belts are warmer air sinking softly down, so that the whole banded pattern is a quiet dance of rising and falling cloud. The 30th fact is that these bands are drawn out into their neat and parallel stripes by Jupiter's swift rotation, which stretches the clouds gently around the planet. Powerful winds and jet streams blow steadily along each band, flowing quietly in alternating directions, combing the great giant's endless clouds into their soft and orderly ribbons of gentle color. The 31st fact is that the bright white zones on Jupiter are made largely of clouds of frozen ammonia, gentle crystals drifting high in the cold upper air, so that the pale and creamy stripes you see are, in a soft and truthful way, great frozen clouds, glittering quietly far above the deeper and darker layers below. The 32nd fact is that the colorful clouds we see are only the very top of Jupiter's atmosphere, a thin and gentle veil drawn across the giant's face, and far below that bright and banded surface lie deeper layers of cloud and gas, hidden softly from view, growing warmer and thicker the farther down they go. The 33rd fact is that scattered across Jupiter are many smaller storms besides the great one, including gentle white ovals that drift slowly among the bands, swirling pale clouds, some of them nearly as old as living memory, wandering quietly across the giant's banded face like small and calm eddies drifting in a great and patient river. The 34th fact is that deep within Jupiter's clouds, lightning flashes and crackles, storms far more powerful than any we know here upon the earth, great silent flickers of light glowing softly within the swirling dark, gentle from our distant view, softly illuminating the vast and stormy skies of the giant from somewhere far below the clouds. The 35th fact is that Jupiter quietly gives off more heat than it receives from the distant sun, glowing softly with warmth left over from its own deep interior, so that the giant is gently warmed from within as much as from without, a slow inner heat still radiating outward from the long-ago days of its birth. The 36th fact is that at Jupiter's poles, spacecraft have found clusters of great cyclones arranged in gentle, orderly patterns, swirling storms gathered softly together, rings of towering tempests turning slowly around each pole, a quiet and beautiful geometry hidden gently at the top and bottom of the giant, unseen from the distant Earth below. The 37th fact is that even a modest backyard telescope will reveal Jupiter's banded face and the soft stripes wrapped around it, a gentle reward for anyone who looks, so that on a clear and quiet night, you can gaze upon those calm and colored ribbons of cloud yourself, glowing softly across the face of the distant giant. The 38th fact is that the many colors of Jupiter's clouds come from small traces of different chemicals mixed gently into the hydrogen and helium, subtle compounds touched by sunlight and stirred by the winds, painting the giant in soft creams and browns and gentle golds, a quiet and endless masterpiece of softly drifting and ever-changing cloud. The 39th fact is that the fierce winds racing along Jupiter's bands never slow against any solid ground, for there is no surface at all to meet them, so that the great jet streams blow on, steady and unhurried, circling the whole giant endlessly through skies that reach down without any bottom at all. The The 40th fact is that the Great Red Spot is so vast that our whole Earth could fit softly within it, with room left gently to spare around the edges. A single storm larger than an entire planet, turning slowly and patiently in the giant southern skies, a gentle reminder of just how grand this world truly is. The 41st fact is that Jupiter is circled by a great and gentle family of moons, with 95 of them confirmed by astronomers as of the year 2023. So that this giant planet is orbited by its own quiet crowd of little worlds, drifting softly around it like a miniature solar system all its own. The 42nd fact is that the 4 largest of Jupiter's moons are called the Galilean moons, and they were discovered long ago in the year 1610, first glimpsed through an early telescope, for faint points of light drifting patiently beside the giant, quietly waiting across the long ages to be noticed at last and gently given their names. The 43rd fact is that these 4 great moons were found by the astronomer Galileo, whose discovery gently shook the very foundations of how people understood the heavens. For here at last were worlds plainly circling something other than the Earth, a soft and quiet proof that our world is not the still center of all things. The 44th fact is that the innermost great moon, called Io, is the most volcanically active body in the entire solar system, restless and glowing with fire, its surface forever reshaped by hundreds of erupting volcanoes. A small and fiery world painted in soft yellows and reds, endlessly renewed by the heat rising quietly within it. The 45th fact is that Io's many volcanoes fling great plumes of gas and dust high above its surface, rising softly into the dark before drifting slowly back down. So that this little moon is never still, forever reshaping its own face with fresh lava, the most restless and fiery small world we have ever found. The 46th fact is that Io burns with all this inner fire because Jupiter's immense gravity gently squeezes and stretches the little moon as it orbits. The giant's mighty pull kneads Io softly from within, warming its rocky heart, so that the tidal tug of Jupiter itself is the quiet engine behind all its endless volcanoes. The 47th fact is that the moon called Europa is wrapped in a smooth shell of ice, and beneath that frozen crust lies a vast, hidden ocean of liquid water. A quiet sea, dark and deep, sealed softly beneath the ice, perhaps holding within it more water than all the seas and oceans of our own Earth combined. The 48th fact is that Europa's icy surface is one of the smoothest in the whole solar system, crossed only by soft networks of gentle cracks and lines. A pale and glassy world, quietly reflecting the distant sunlight, its frozen face gently etched with long faint marks where the ice has slowly shifted over the ages. The 49th fact is that because Europa hides a deep ocean of liquid water beneath its ice, it is one of the most hopeful places to gently wonder whether life might dwell. A quiet, dark sea, warmed softly from below, where some scientists tenderly imagine that simple living things could perhaps be quietly drifting even now in the dark. The 50th fact is that the moon called Ganymede is the largest moon in the entire solar system, measuring about 5,268 kilometers across. A great and gentle world in its own right, so grand that it stands as the mightiest of all the many moons circling all the planets of the sun. The 51st fact is that Ganymede is so enormous that it is actually larger than the planet Mercury, the smallest of the sun's true planets. So that this single moon of Jupiter, if it drifted alone around the sun, would surely be counted a fine and worthy planet in its own quiet and gentle right. The 52nd fact is that Ganymede is the only moon in the whole solar system known to generate its own magnetic field, a soft invisible cloak all its own. A gentle and unique feature that sets this great moon apart, wrapping it quietly in a soft magnetism that no other moon anywhere is known to possess. The 53rd fact is that the moon called Callisto is one of the most heavily cratered worlds in the entire solar system, its ancient face marked softly all over. A quiet and battered little world, gently pockmarked by countless impacts across billions of years, wearing the long and patient history of the whole solar system softly upon its ancient surface. The 54th fact is that Callisto's surface is thought to be one of the oldest and least changed in the solar system, scarcely altered across immense spans of time. So that to gaze upon Callisto is to see a world almost exactly as it was in the distant and gentle youth of the sun's quiet family, softly and faithfully preserved. The 55th fact is that the 4 Galilean moons were each named for companions and loved ones from the old myths of Zeus, the Greek king of the gods. So that Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto carry gentle names drawn from ancient stories, drifting quietly around the great planet that itself bears the name of their mythic king. The 56th fact is that Jupiter's many moons range from these 4 great worlds all the way down to tiny moonlets only a few kilometers wide. A gentle spread of sizes, from mighty Ganymede larger than a planet to little drifting rocks barely worth a name, all of them circling the great giants softly and faithfully together through the endless dark. The 57th fact is that Jupiter's smallest inner moons drift close beside the planet, and dust knocked gently from their surfaces helps feed the giant's faint rings, so that these little worlds quietly supply the fine material that traces out Jupiter's delicate rings, a soft and endless gift of fine dust drifting quietly in rings around the giant. The 58th fact is that far out beyond the great moons, Jupiter is circled by many small and distant outer moons, some of them drifting quietly backward against the others, a scattered swarm of tiny captured worlds, looping slowly around the giant on great tilted paths, gently held in place at the very outermost edge of its wide and quiet gravitational reach. The 59th fact is that on a clear and quiet night, even a simple pair of binoculars will reveal the 4 Galilean moons as tiny points of light beside Jupiter, little sparks strung softly around the giant, gently shifting their places from night to night, so that you can watch them dance slowly around the planet yourself. The 60th fact is that with its great and small moons circling all around it, Jupiter is very much like a miniature solar system, a gentle model of the sun's own family. A grand central world attended by a quiet crowd of orbiting bodies, drifting softly together in calm and patient loops through the endless dark. The 61st fact is that Jupiter has no solid surface anywhere upon it, so that if you could descend into the giant, you would simply sink through ever-thickening gas, down and down through deepening layers of cloud and vapor, with no ground ever to meet your feet, only the soft and endless deepening of the great planet's sky. The 62nd fact is that as you would descend into Jupiter, the pressure and the heat would rise gently but relentlessly, the gas around you growing thicker and warmer, until far below the clouds the conditions become almost unimaginably intense. A deep and hidden realm no eye has ever seen, folded quietly within the giant. The 63rd fact is that deep inside Jupiter, the pressure grows so tremendous that hydrogen is squeezed into a strange and exotic form called metallic hydrogen, a substance that behaves almost like a liquid metal, filling the vast inner depths of the giant, unlike anything we could ever gently hold or find here upon the Earth. The 64th fact is that this great inner ocean of metallic hydrogen conducts electricity, and its slow churning is what generates Jupiter's mighty magnetic field, so that deep within the giant, a vast and hidden sea of liquid metal turns quietly on, softly and endlessly powering the enormous invisible force that surrounds the whole of the planet. The 65th fact is that at the very heart of Jupiter there may lie a core, perhaps a dense center of rock and metal, or perhaps a softer, more diluted heart, gently blurred and dissolved into the metallic hydrogen around it, a quiet and mysterious center resting hidden far beneath everything else the great giant holds. The 66th fact is that whatever its exact nature, Jupiter's deep core is thought to be tremendously hot, hotter even than the surface of the sun, a great and hidden warmth resting quietly at the giant's center, gently radiating its ancient heat slowly outward through all the vast layers of gas that lie above it. The 67th fact is that Jupiter possesses the strongest magnetic field of any planet in the solar system, roughly 20,000 times more powerful than the Earth's own. An immense and invisible force wrapped all around the giant, reaching far out into space and gently shaping everything that drifts within its vast and quiet embrace. The 68th fact is that this powerful magnetism creates the largest magnetosphere of any planet, a great invisible bubble surrounding Jupiter far out into space, so enormous that it stretches millions of kilometers around the giant, a vast and gentle cocoon of magnetism cradling the great planet and its inner moons softly within it. The 69th fact is that Jupiter's magnetosphere is so vast that, if it glowed and we could see it from the Earth, it would appear larger in our sky than the full moon. An unseen giant far grander than the planet itself, quietly enfolding the world in a bubble of magnetism greater than the mind can easily hold. The 70th fact is that within Jupiter's magnetic field lie fierce belts of radiation, regions of energetic particles trapped and swirling gently around the giant, a powerful and invisible realm surrounding the planet, so that its magnetism both shields the giant and gathers around it one of the harshest environments in all the solar system. The 71st fact is that Jupiter is crowned with spectacular auroras, glowing curtains of light at its poles that are among the brightest and most powerful anywhere, great shimmering rings of soft light dancing quietly above the giant's poles, far grander and far brighter than the gentle northern lights we sometimes glimpse here upon the Earth. The 72nd fact is that Jupiter's brilliant auroras are fed in part by material flung out from its fiery volcanic moon, Io, drifting into the giant's magnetic field, so that the eruptions of one small moon quietly help to kindle the glowing polar lights of the great planet, a gentle bond between world and moon. The 73rd fact is that Jupiter is encircled by a faint and delicate system of rings, far fainter than the glorious bright rings of Saturn, soft and dusty and nearly invisible, quietly circling the giant, so gentle and so dim that they went entirely unnoticed until spacecraft drifted close enough to glimpse them at last. The 74th fact is that Jupiter's rings are made not of ice and rock but of fine, dark dust, tiny grains drifting softly around the planet. A delicate and shadowy veil, gently fed by the small inner moons, tracing quiet circles around the giant far too faint for our eyes ever to see from the Earth. The 75th fact is that Jupiter's rings were not discovered until the Voyager 1 spacecraft drifted past the giant in the year 1979 and gently glimpsed them, a soft and unexpected surprise, gently revealing that the great planet, much like Saturn, wears its own faint and dusty rings quietly around its middle. The 76th fact is that Jupiter is a powerful source of radio waves, quietly humming out across space with signals born of its mighty magnetic field, so that even without ever seeing it at all, radio telescopes here on Earth can gently and patiently listen to the giant, softly hearing the quiet crackle and gentle song of its vast and invisible magnetism. The 77th fact is that Jupiter still glows softly with heat left over from its own formation, and is very slowly and gently contracting, shrinking almost imperceptibly over time, so that the giant continues to release the warmth of its distant birth, quietly settling inward across the ages by only a tiny amount each long year. The 78th fact is that Jupiter is sometimes gently called a failed star, for it is made of much the same stuff as the Sun, but never grew massive enough to shine. Had it gathered far more material in its youth, it might have kindled into a star of its own, yet it remained instead a great and gentle planet. The 79th fact is that Jupiter's composition, so rich in hydrogen and helium, closely echoes the makeup of the Sun itself and of the early solar system, so that in studying the giant, we gently glimpse the very stuff from which our whole cosmic neighborhood was born, quietly preserved within this grand and ancient world. The 80th fact is that in all its layered depths, its metallic sea, its mighty magnetism, and its glowing auroras, Jupiter reveals the calm and hidden order of the cosmos gently at work. A vast and patient architecture of gas and force, turning quietly through the dark, built softly and slowly across billions of long and unhurried years. The 81st fact is that the first spacecraft ever to visit Jupiter was Pioneer 10, which drifted gently past the giant in the year 1973, sending home the first close views. A small and faithful traveler, the very first from Earth to greet the great planet up close, quietly opening the way for all the many missions that would gently follow. The 82nd fact is that soon after came Pioneer 11, which swept past Jupiter and used the giant's mighty gravity to fling itself gently onward towards Saturn, so that the great planet served not only as a wonder to study, but also as a quiet cosmic slingshot, softly and gently hurling our little spacecraft deeper into the cold and open outer dark. The 83rd fact is that in the year 1979, the two Voyager spacecraft drifted past Jupiter, sending home breathtaking close portraits of the giant and its moons, revealing the swirling clouds, the fiery volcanoes of Io, and the faint rings, gently transforming Jupiter from a distant point of light into a world of vivid and living detail. The 84th fact is that it was the Voyager spacecraft that first revealed Jupiter's faint rings and the astonishing erupting volcanoes upon its moon Io, quiet surprises awaiting them. Discoveries no one had expected, softly reshaping our whole understanding of the giant and its family, all of them gathered quietly in a single brief and gentle passing glance. The 85th fact is that the spacecraft named Galileo became the first to settle into orbit around Jupiter, circling the giant patiently from 1995 to 2003, drifting faithfully around the great planet for years, studying its clouds and moons up close, a quiet and devoted companion to the world it had come so far to see. The 86th fact is that the Galileo mission even released a small probe that plunged bravely down into Jupiter's clouds, sending back gentle measurements as it descended. A tiny brave traveler sinking into the giant's endless sky, quietly tasting the wind and the pressure for a little while before vanishing softly forever into the deep. The 87th fact is that the spacecraft named Juno arrived at Jupiter in the year 2016, and has been circling the giant ever since, studying it closely, drifting on a great looping path around the planet, peering gently beneath its clouds, softly unraveling the deep secrets of the giant's hidden interior and its mighty magnetic heart. The 88th fact is that Juno follows a special path that carries it gently over Jupiter's poles, letting it gaze down upon the swirling polar cyclones and glowing auroras, so that this faithful spacecraft has shown us the giant from angles that no one had ever seen before, quietly and gently revealing the calm and beautiful geometry of its distant poles. The 89th fact is that Jupiter's immense gravity gently shepherds the asteroid belt, the great ring of rocky rubble drifting between it and the smaller inner worlds, softly herding and shaping those countless tumbling stones with its powerful pull, quietly governing the slow motions of the whole belt across the long and patient ages of time. The 90th fact is that with its tremendous gravity, Jupiter helps to shield the inner planets, gently drawing in or flinging away many comets and wandering rocks that might otherwise drift closer, so that the giant acts as a quiet guardian of the inner solar system, softly deflecting dangers away from the small worlds within, including our own. The 91st fact is that Jupiter shares its orbit around the Sun with two great swarms of asteroids called the Trojans, drifting quietly ahead of and behind the giant, gently held in place by the balance of gravity. These rocky companions travel faithfully along Jupiter's path, softly escorting the great planet on its long and endless journey. The 92nd fact is that in the distant past, Jupiter once caught and tore apart a comet called Shoemaker-Levy 9, gently pulling its pieces down into the giant's clouds. A quiet and gentle reminder of how the great planet's mighty gravity has long swept up wandering visitors, softly guarding the calm and the quiet of the whole inner solar system. The 93rd fact is that many scientists believe Jupiter's great mass gently helped to shape the whole solar system as it formed, herding material and steering the paths of the other worlds, so that the very arrangement of all the planets, including the gentle and fortunate place of our own Earth, may owe a quiet and lasting debt to this grand and ancient giant. The 94th fact is that on many a calm evening, Jupiter hangs softly in our sky as a bright and steady light, gently inviting anyone who wishes to look up and wonder, a faithful companion drifting slowly among the stars, quietly offering its calm and ancient glow to all those who pause to look up beneath the darkening evening sky. The 95th fact is that through even a modest telescope, you can gently see Jupiter's banded clouds and its 4 bright moons strung softly beside it, a quiet marvel within easy reach, so that the grandest planet of them all waits patiently overhead, ready to reveal its gentle wonders to anyone willing to look with a little care and calm. The 96th fact is that Jupiter has drifted faithfully around the Sun for more than 4 billion years, turning slowly and patiently long before the Earth had cooled or the first life had stirred. A great and ancient guardian of the outer dark, keeping its calm and steady course through unimaginable and uncounted spans of quiet and gentle time. The 97th fact is that far above you now, Jupiter drifts on through the deep and open dark just as it always has, its banded clouds turning slowly, its bright moons circling faithfully around it. A vast and gentle giant, keeping its calm and ancient course while you rest softly and safely here below. The 98th fact is that you may let go of every small worry now, knowing that the great planets drift on in their slow and gentle courses far above, patient and calm and utterly unhurried, exactly as they have since long before you were born. A vast and steady peace, cradling the whole quiet night softly around you. The 99th fact is that you are a small and gentle and deeply beloved part of this very same vast and turning cosmos, resting safely upon a quiet blue world, drifting slowly among the planets, held gently and precisely exactly where you are meant to be tonight, beneath the calm and ancient glow of Jupiter. The 100th fact is that as you drift now into sleep, Jupiter goes on turning, and its banded clouds go on swirling softly through the dark, and the whole wide cosmos goes on unfolding, patient and calm and endless, holding you gently and safely through all the quiet hours of the night. Rest now, sleep well, and thank you for drifting with me beyond the stars.